Hello, everyone, and welcome to Growth Stage, podcast by FastSpring, where we discuss how digital product companies grow revenue, build meaningful products, and increase the value of their business. So I'm your host, Jesse Poliato. I love being part of the community here, and I'm really grateful that as part of my role here at FastSpring, I get to bring the best of the community to you here. So today, we're going to be talking about cold outreach in the era of AI, what actually works, and what's killing your deliverability. We're with Kseniia Skobelska of Snovio. Most SaaS founders have sent cold emails, but between AI-generated noise, spam filters, domain reputation pitfalls, getting a reply in 2026 is harder than ever. So how can digital product companies build outreach that actually reaches the inbox, earns a response, and scales without burning their domain in the process? And if you don't know what that means, you will know what that means here shortly. So in this episode, we're going to interview Kseniia. She's a growth market strategist at Snovio, and with over 3 million users on their platform, Snovio has a unique window into what separates outreach that works from outreach that was just wastes everybody's time. And Kseniia is here to share what the data actually shows on things like why open rates are misleading, what metric you should be optimizing for, what's really triggering your emails to land in spam, and how to fix that, how to build a cold outreach system from scratch that's deliverable, human, and worth replying to. So if you're a founder doing just, ad hoc outreach or trying to figure this out, this one is for you. So Kseniia, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate you joining the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about our conversation.
Yeah, me too. I think this is just so of the moment where everybody's inbox is just blasted with AI outreach. And so what do we do to do things right? Such a needed answer. Can you just for a second maybe tell a little bit about who you are and what Snovio does?
Okay. I will just spill the light on how many years I'm into this industry because I think that's the most important information here, because I will actually travel to the past with you today a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I am 7 years plus in the industry. I started in 2019. I sent cold outreach. I failed and I succeeded because, cold outreach is such a game. There is no one who does the successful outreach with the first attempt. So you're gonna have these experience for sure, and you should not actually be afraid of it. And in simple terms, I thought of how people present their companies and like saying we are blah, 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 blah. And I just want to say a simple thing about Snovio and that what actually it does and what you can do with Snovio. So Snovio is the platform where you can build a system that will help you find leads, your future clients, prepare for this outreach, send the actual outreach, and then take care of the leads. So there's like a CRM where you can manage it all, and care about your domain reputation and your email accounts. So this is the part where you care about the deliverability with Snovio. So if we look at Snovio, this is like an ecosystem, so to say. Because people who actually in the market, you may know that some people have, for example, the warm-up, some people have the tools for lead generation, some people have sell the tools for email outreach, and you buy a lot of subscriptions for that. So sometimes businesses that come to us, they have like 5 subscriptions, and they kind of expensive. So inside of Snovio, you save also the money and you have everything in one place. So this is what Snovio is.
Oh, excellent. And maybe just a quick note for folks that are listening, if you're on the B2B side of life and you're marketing business to business, this is probably bread and butter of your marketing and sales strategy. But even on B2C side, I think a lot of startup SaaS founders, the way they're getting their initial clients is by outreach. The way they're building partnerships is by doing outreach. The way that they're trying to connect with other people in their ecosystem is through outreach. So I think across the spectrum in the business world, there's different flavors, but cold outreach, it's pretty rare that there's a business that this is not somewhere within the organization. So, to that point, I think a lot of SaaS founders send cold emails, even themselves. Maybe it's just a few here and there, maybe even without any sort of system, even though you're saying that people come with like 5 tools, but sometimes people have no system and they're just making it up as they go, right? So what are they missing that they don't even know they're missing when people are doing this sort of outreach?
To answer this question, I want to say a peculiar thing. That's what I noticed from my work with the founders that they have. Like, this is like the characteristic of the founders. So they see the goal and they don't see the obstacles. And that's good. That's good. Because if you start thinking about the obstacles, you will never even get to that goal. So you will stop there and you won't go further. But then later, I think this kind of mood or vibe, right, that has impact on what we're going to talk about. And to explain this kind of absence of the system, I want to give you a metaphor just to simplify this and, to romanticize this discussion. Let's imagine that founders are the people that are responsible for launching the rocket into space. Yes, a little bit difficult. There's a lot of details, but anyway, that's a metaphor. We're simplifying this. They are responsible for everything. And they are just the people that hit the launch button. That's it. They don't check whether this rocket is ready for launch. They don't check whether it's technically equipped. They don't check whether all the wires are connected there. They don't check whether there's fuel in there. They don't check anything. They just hit launch. And what they think about, they think about the result. So that rocket is there in the space and it's actually completing the mission. The same thing with the cold outreach. So people actually think that it's simple. And even if I'm right now telling you all these sort of things, you may also agree that it's simple. What do you need to do? Just click send emails. You have the offer, you just write it and send. That's fine. That's easy. That's no hard. There's no friction in it, for example, right?
Yeah.
But there is something that they miss, and let's call it, in simple terms, preparation. In industry terms, that's called infrastructure, and that's one of the things that most of the founders skip. What infrastructure mean? It's in fact something technical. It's not even the thing where you need to use your creativity. It's just something that, you need to sit in front of your computer, open certain tabs, enter certain data, and do all you're set. That's it. Yeah. But it's difficult, So what is included there? So it's the domains. By the way, never send cold outreach from your main domain. I usually say, unless you want to burn it down. If you have this goal, okay, do it. But typically, it's better to buy separate domains. That's like one part. The other part, then you create the mailboxes, and you need to warm them up. By the way, the warm-up stage, I would say cruelly skipped. People rudely skip it. Even people write on Reddit, how do I skip warm up? I will answer that for you. You can't. There is no way you can skip warm up. Again, unless you want to burn down all your efforts. So then you warm up your email accounts. And seems like it's not all. You need to set up the domain records. That's another part, also technical. But when we talk about infrastructure, that's not all. We also talk about data quality, and that also goes into infrastructure because, let's say, I had lots of cases where people came frustrated. They were, the founders or just the marketers. They didn't know what happened. Like, hey, I did this and this and that.
Mm.
I have my domain set up. I have my email account warmed up. What is going on? All of my emails are in the spam, or
Mm-hmm.
my email account is blocked. And the thing is that they didn't verify the data that they get. Sometimes people buy the list. Sometimes they actually do prospecting, but leave this list for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their own reason for why they leave that list. And then they get back in 3 months. And you know what? We live in a world where data is such a thing that changes constantly. So
Yeah.
it's not something stable that we can rely on.
Yeah.
And in 3 months, the whole list can be invalid. For example, you have 500 leads there, and all of them may be invalid in 3 months. So the case is there why those founders were frustrated. They sent the campaign, but they sent to unverified emails. And when we then verified those lists, it turned out that half of that list was valid. And here's the thing. You can't send emails to invalid email addresses. So you'll be stopped, first of all, by your email service provider. So that won't destroy their reputation. And, all those connections between the ESPs that they have. So they will stop you.
Yeah. So for a couple great things in there, I just want to kind of poke a little bit more at using a different domain. Makes total sense. You're going to burn your own domain when you keep getting flagged as sending spam or something. But if you use an alternate domain, do you have any thoughts on, like, does that have the same credibility when it shows up and the domain is get Snovio versus Snovio? If I've seen you in the marketplace, I'm like, wait, what is this one?
Here's the thing. If you buy the fresh domain, so like it's a baby, it's an infant,
Mm-hmm.
like 1 day old. Yes, it's gonna be bad. It won't work. So the common recommendation is that you need to buy domains at least 1 year and more old. And when we talk about, like, you asked me, like, you saw the domain Snovio, but then get Snovio, what is this? The thing is that here is not, in fact, the get domain will be, get Snovio.io, for example, would be perceived as a company name. Here's not this case. When you create the domain, your domain should contain your company name so that people then can find information about you. But that doesn't mean that, this is specifically the exact company, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
So they will find information. It's easy. Customers right now, they have access to internet. And even if they write get snow.io, Google, for example, it will suggest them the variants. Right now, Google is not that popular. Let's take ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. Those guys will help even better. So they will say, maybe you meant, and suggest the right company name. And then, for example, you follow that website, you see your email, you read what is written there, and then you see the website. Okay, that's the match. These are these guys. So that's the case.
Oh, that's great. And then on the warming up and people trying to skip the warm up phase, how long does it take? I mean, how much time are people really trying to save on that? Weeks, months?
Well, let's say the least period that you need to warm up your account is 4 weeks.
Okay.
So this is like 1 month.
Yeah.
In other terms.
Okay. So that's what people are trying to get past.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory. why people doing it and why they want it. And I think we're just all the victims of the industry. But I'm not talking specifically about the industry that I'm working in or you're working in. I'm talking about that globally. So that everywhere you go, for example, as a consumer, we're all consumers, right? So that's like
Hmm.
right now we are professionals, we're like in B2B. But anyway, besides the work, we're consumers, and that also
Yeah.
impacts everywhere, and everything is easy. Become a millionaire in 2 steps
Yeah.
and 2 steps. Do this and get $1 billion. And people sometimes, I don't know why they believe in it. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I still don't have my personal opinion on that. But they have this vibe, and then they just enter, like for example, this cold outreach or any other thing.
Yeah.
In fact, we can even go like something relatable. We can take fitness.
Mm.
I want a super cool fit body, but
Yeah.
I want it in 1 week.
Right.
So in fact, this is a real story. My coach, she actually told me, like the woman came to her and she said, I don't want to work out a lot, but I want to lose 12 kilograms in 1 month. So
That's unrealistic.
yeah, listen, the same thing is
Yeah.
here. So in fact, you can stand without warm up. But here's the question: what are you going to achieve? Do you
Yeah.
want to get the results like that satisfies you, or you want to get frustration? Well, if that's the second thing again, no one is actually
I get it.
holding you to do it.
So this is actually a great transition to my next question, which is, speaking of people trying to do things the easy way, AI tools. So this has made it super easy for anyone to write and send outreach at scale now, not even just to a small list, but people can, scale that up pretty high. Has that made cold email more effective, or is it just creating more noise?
I will respond right away. No, AI did not make cold outreach effective. And then I will explain why. I think
Yeah.
I will look a little bit skeptical about AI because I saw some of the podcasts before that you had, and those guys were so excited about AI, and I'm just
Yeah.
like right now I will sit and say that no, guys, AI is hype, just a little bit
I think you
weird.
probably saw the last episode with Chris because he is devoted. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it may look weird, especially if you compare that the rest of the world is so obsessed with AI. Like in
Yeah.
Mariah Carey's song, "I am so why are you so obsessed with me?"
Yeah.
So um, uh, but the thing that you need to understand about AI, and you said like it helps you scale
Mm.
that quickly or fast, and about the volume. In fact, it all were available before AI.
Mm.
But I want to say one thing that you need to keep in mind when you look at AI in terms of writing emails right now. But as I promised, we are traveling back in past when I started. Uh, in 2019, there was like the popular saying, people send templates, cold
Hmm.
email templates that were
Yep.
such a popular. We need to find the best convert. Well, it's now it's also something that people are searching for. But at that time, there was like something like, let's say AI right now. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but anyway.
Yeah.
And what AI is actually doing, we all know that AI is being taught by what? By open source data, and that means internet. And as earlier, people just searched for the websites where those Codima templates were published, they copied and pasted that and sent.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And right now, the AI is taught by these templates. So for me, if we talk about writing of the emails, nothing changed. In fact, AI produces the same templates that people used in 2020. And
Hmm.
the peculiar thing you may notice in your inbox, and you can definitely say right now that is written with AI, and it's one of the features that actually help you detect that it is the AI written templated email, is that the first line. I hope your email finds you well. I hope
Yeah.
my email finds you
Yeah.
well. That became a meme already, but
Yep.
still, if you see this, you can close the email because this person definitely does not know what they're doing. And actually, probably that's exactly what I said. They don't, they don't understand what they are doing. So in terms of writing, if people consider that copy pasting the template was hard, and right now they can just write the prompt, write an email for me, and it's easier for them right now. Maybe it somehow simplified the life and writing emails in general. But if we look at the, let's say, at the core, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Just the way people, the only way that changed the way people find those templates. The other thing that is important here to notice that as far as this is the templates, they are generic.
Mhm.
They are, let's say, let's find an adjective here. They are humanless, so you won't find anything there. So they are like robotic. In fact, people started detecting those generic robotic messages before AI. Currently, they have their AI inside their brains that detects that instantly.
Yeah.
Like, there's AI. They don't even read. They just see the pattern, close, block, or send to spam. And second part of your question, whether it actually creates noise or somehow make the life better of those who, do cold outreach, it creates more noise. But
Yeah.
I can't say that. So that definitely currently we have more emails sent, like cold emails. There's like definitely a lot of emails. It's more emails than in 2019. Actually, there was a trend in the cold outreach, and it started way earlier than AI. Is that when you send more emails, you will get better results. So more emails, more replies, more money, but it's
Yeah.
not that. And with AI, whether it actually increases that thing, yes, but before that, the prospect inboxes were already flooded by the emails, like those templated generic emails. And back in the days, it was already hard to catch the person's attention.
Yeah.
Right now, it's even harder. But it's not only because of the increase of the noise that AI helped, created more. There's also the changes that, in fact, happens to all of us. Right now, we have so many distractions around us.
Yeah.
And we even have, with the TikTok and Reels and Instagram, we have the changes in our attention. So that, if I'm not mistaken, it's called popcorn brain. So you just like,
Yeah.
so people, besides that they have this AI detection in their head, besides that there is a lot of noise and distractions, it's super hard just to focus, to catch their focus.
Hmm. You made a couple points that are really kind of insightful for me. One is that, if AI, if we're generating templates with AI is trained on the templates from 5 years ago. And so
Yeah.
all we're doing is recreating knowledge we already have. Not even recreating, just re-spitting out knowledge we already have. And then the point you make around like our own brains sort of automatically are pretty good BS detectors and see stuff. And I know that's always a question with people like, well, AI is going to get good enough that you won't be able to do that. Well, okay, whatever. But for right now, most people can spot it. And I think that speaks to one question people might have, which is, well, what if I'm using AI to personalize my templates so that, it says, instead of saying, Kseniia, I hope you're feeling well or hope you're doing well, mine says, Kseniia, I saw on LinkedIn that, you published an episode recently. Isn't that so cool? love to talk to you, and they're personalizing it. But I think even still, the auto detection filter, you're still going to see the pattern and be like, yeah, this was written with AI.
Um, in fact, the example that you gave, currently, it doesn't, it is not well spread right now. I mean, like, I
Mm.
saw your post on LinkedIn, people don't use that, but definitely, I need to say a good thing about AI.
Yeah,
And, I was like,
I'm not trying to force you to.
no, but well, it's obvious because like uh, it has bad side and it has good side, and
Mm.
where it's good, it can actually help you research better and faster. That's
Mhm.
where AI is really useful. When we talk about volume, yes, but still, it doesn't mean if AI searches for the information, you should believe it, like you should rely on it
Yeah,
100%.
that's a good point. Yeah.
You need to always remember that, and I think that you saw those videos online that AI is asked to spell the word syllable and say how many L's in there. And the responses are like one, then no, 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 think about it. Two, and maybe at the third response, the AI will say, yes, there's like three. So you need to remember this. This is an AI. Yes, it's technology. It's created by humans. People make mistakes, so the technology makes mistakes for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of AI, it fastens the process of research. It may help you with analysis. It may help you if do those things, do those steps good. It may help you actually create personalization,
Hmm.
but it's not something that you can again delegate to AI.
Mm.
It's something that still requires your involvement. And here's another thing. That slipped my mind. I just thought about that. Recently, there have been the term circulating. Currently, we say single signal based outreach.
Right.
No based outreach. So I think, well, it doesn't mean that it's something new or the terms is new. No, it's not new. It's something that been in the industry. But I think right now with this term, all the people that are in the industry that know what they do, they want to focus people's attention to that, to make the emails relevant and to, somehow stop that AI noise.
Mm.
Because in fact, if you send those generic emails, they don't bring you any results. And signal-based outreach is that, a lot of examples, like the most typical one that you hear is that, for example, someone is hiring SDRs, so that
Right.
means, for example, they are expanding and blah blah blah, or maybe this company got a new VP of sales and he's new, he's ready for some new things, trying blah blah blah. But it's obvious, right? So it's like these signals obvious. But I think what's also an important thing to mention here, the about the relevance, is that when you know your solution pretty well, you know who you built the solution for, you know the pain that these people that might be interested in your solution have, and
Hmm.
you can use this as a signal to reach out to them. And here's another thing that I want to add about cold outreach is that your initial goal is not to sell with your first email. It's
Mm.
not. Your goal is to see whether there is an opportunity for you and involve the person into the conversation. That's what you do. And then when you start communicating with the person, you actually see whether they are interested and blah, blah, blah. Then you continue the conversation. That's how it works. Then you can pitch, then you can go on a meeting with them and blah, 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 proceed with the cycle that you have.
That's funny you say that about the signal-based outreach. I literally got emails this morning that were those of like, oh, I saw FastSpring recently had this happen in the market. Was this the right time? And I'm like, I ignored them because I know that it's exactly what you're describing. So let's take a look at some kind of the details and numbers stuff. Most founders who do track anything when they're doing this sort of outreach, regardless if they're using AI or not, they're usually looking at open rates. Is that actually a useful number to gauge success off of?
I'm thinking whether to keep an intrigue or to say it right away. But
Just say it.
no,
Okay, intrigue. All right.
I just did that previously. I responded right away, so I think I have a right to keep an intrigue. I want to start with that. We are humans, and we love to create senses. And I look back again at my past experience and about open rates in general, and I think we actually created the sense for this statistic. Maybe, someone actually created, this option, and, they need to sell this. So, they made us believe that it's important cold outreach. But here, what I want to say, maybe when there weren't less noise, about the dinosaurs who started cold outreach, for them, open rates may have been a useful rates because they were like an additional signal to say that your emails are getting delivered to the prospects' inboxes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, it has no sense in tracking open rates at all, because think about this. The second, like 2 seconds after your email is sent, it's already opened. And it's opened by your email service provider, by bots, but by their checkup system. And think about this. This is like the first meeting, so to say, with the bot. On the journey to your prospect's inbox, we can only imagine how many times the email is opened by, again, the bots of the other mailbox provider, email service provider. About antiviruses, we don't have to forget about the internet service providers that also check because they care about IP reputation as well. So when the email lands right now, it has been opened a lot of times. Yeah, not by humans, by machines, let's so to say, but still.
Yeah.
So you cannot say, well, let's say you see in your open rates that it's like 5 opens, but you cannot even guess that those opens, at least one was from a real person. Yeah. So that's why it's useless. You need to concentrate on reply rate. These are the rates that actually sign to you whether you're doing great or not. When you don't have replies, it's actually the signal for you to think what you're doing wrong. Maybe this is something about your infrastructure. Maybe this is with the list. Maybe there's something else. So you need to check these things.
Yeah.
For example, there may be replies, for example, like, I'm not interested. It's also the signal for you. Maybe this is not relevant for this segment of people right now. But anyway, replies, that's what you need to concentrate on.
So what about spam? So a lot of times you send an email, you think like seemed like a good email. I sent this and I'm seeing it's ending up in spam. Like why does that happen?
I want to comment here a little bit about writing emails generally in cold outreach and about this vision like perfect email. I wrote a perfect email and boom, nobody responds or it got to spam. In cold outreach, you need to keep that in mind that there is no perfect email copy. Why? Not because you are bad at writing or something is wrong with you, no. Just because cold outreach is an ongoing experiment. Again, as I mentioned before about the data that, it's not stable, the email copy is something that is not stable as well. And you can even check this within the segment.
Hmm.
For example, this email copy generates a lot of replies with this certain segment of people, for example, from this tier of companies or from this specific industry or country. And then you take the exact same thing, the pain points, all those things, they all the same, but for another segment of people and zero replies. So
Hmm.
even, the difference may be in such a tiny circle, so to say. That's one thing. And let's get back to the spam. Honestly, people, I think this is something in our nature. It's called outreach. Is something that you never saw the person, and you want to be good. And how can you represent it in text? With the letters. How can you look good? And sometimes people start, you know, stuffing their email with the things that in fact impact their deliverability. For
Okay.
example, use the HTML emails, and for you to understand how it may look like, think about the marketing email. But the first thing that comes into your mind that it's something like bright and blah blah blah, but it's not all. You can make it pretty good, not that bright, but still it's going to be created in HTML. It's going to be created in the code, and that's what ESPs don't like. Why they don't like it? Because this code makes the email heavy.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing here, not the same, but another thing about the heaviness of the email. Sometimes you may see people write that's going to be a plain text, and people attach the PDF with the catalog, with the sales presentation, whatever. It
Yeah.
also makes the email heavy, and it may go to the spam box, even if everything was good, even if your targeting and your offer is relevant for those people.
Yeah.
It's, they don't look at it. They look like heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get to the spam. The
Yeah.
other thing is that the formatting of the email, like people sometimes use different colors or different fonts in one email. So like you open the email and you don't know whether it's screaming at you or what is going on there.
Right.
So that's also what ESPs don't like. That's a complete spam. Go. Go to that corner, so to say, where nobody will see you. The other thing is links. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's in fact, I would say not only links, it's also tracking the links and tracking the opens, by the way. That's another thing not to track opens.
Mm.
So if you talk about open rates, how they are tracked with the tracking pixel.
Right.
Currently, the ESPs detect this, and they will send you to the spam. You may find the reason. You may have a plain text email, but they will send you to spam, and you will see that notification. There's like phishing or suspicious links, but you're like, I didn't insert any links, but boom, you have tracking pixels that, ESPs, they don't, have to explain to yourself, to you, I mean, why they send you to spam. Like, they
Yeah.
found it suspicious, and actually it's a tracking pixel, that were figured out by industry later. That's why I go to spam. We go back to the link tracking, and here's the thing: people want their prospect to book a call, visit their website, I don't know, check this valuable resource, and they all put that in one email.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what ESPs don't like. And there's another thing, as I mentioned previously, with your cold email, you need to establish connection. You need to involve the person into conversation, and only then you can exchange the links and all this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But not in your first email. That's suspicious for looks suspicious for ESPs. And the other, downfall here is that those links, why do we insert them? We want to track them for sure. We want to know whether people that receive our email, they actually follow the link. And here's another thing, like, again, the links are opened by bots as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about tracking links, imagine this, like your link is a candy and the tracking link is a wrap. So the tracking link wraps your link. And when the ESP gets the email, they see like, there's like one link and then behind the other link, they do not match. They're
Mm-hmm.
completely different. And we all know that this is a common phishing tactic. I think you once in your life got those emails, for example, from Microsoft. By the way, you don't use it, but you still need to activate or reactivate your
Right.
account.
Right. Yeah.
You see that? So there is a link kind of with the Microsoft domain, but when you click on it, you are redirected to somewhere else. So
Yeah.
that's why links is not something that you need to put in your cold emails.
Interesting. Which seems to really make a case for having multiple emails, that your outreach, instead of viewing outreach as a single email, like stage your relationship building and when you're going to actually deliver those valuable resources, links, sales pitches, whatever, across multiple emails. Is that fair? Is that accurate?
Yeah. In fact, well, as I mentioned, we it's so hard to attract people's attention, and
Mhm.
we. If I say this, I don't think that I would be people will throw tomatoes at me, but we don't like when someone tries to sell us something, even if it's
Right.
relevant to us. Even if you need it, you don't like it, and you feel it. And in most of the cases, yes, from one side, people like they don't hide an email anything. Like they are straightforward, this and that. But you feel that they want to sell you this, and you don't
Yeah.
want to communicate with them. So yes, you need to, let's say, not pitch or sell in your cold email. You need to establish the relationship.
Hmm.
You need to involve the person into conversation, and then you know what to do then if you sell.
Yeah. So let me ask about LinkedIn. So particularly in, business to business, I would say even in those environments of B2C, business to consumer, where you're kind of reaching out to partners and to other founders and other types of outreach, there's often like you're going to try and reach out to them on LinkedIn. Um, does that, or I assume you are, does that in fact fit into a good strategy with email? And maybe you can talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to do, but there is one thing that you should not do. You should
Okay.
not consider LinkedIn as as a platform where you just copy paste your email. So you need to understand the specifics of that. So LinkedIn is a social media platform. You have the option there to chat with people in private messages. And that means that, like, what chat, even the word chat actually shows us what you need to do. You should be short.
Mm-hmm.
There should be novels. So if in the email you actually can write, the benefits, you use more space there and you can use that if it's relevant. If you describe the benefits that the person will get. But in the email, in the LinkedIn, the situation is a bit different. So I want to give you an example of the outreach that, in fact, is not good. And I honestly, I would love to talk to that person and but they don't answer. By the way, when I ask them about their strategy and what they were trying to achieve, they don't answer, to those questions. So I would say just what I got. And is actually one of the practices that can be used. I got not a big message, and there was the useful resource. There was something about LinkedIn, and I am interested in LinkedIn. I post about LinkedIn and blah blah blah. So it's something relevant to me, and yeah, I followed the link. And the part in your opportunity here is to start the conversation about what you sent to me. You use it like a hook, so to say. You
Mm-hmm.
use it like, bait. So, okay, I got it. And we can build our conversation based on it. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
this is the whole idea of sending the person the valuable resource.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a conversation. In more than a week, I received the second message. It was long, but it was pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like something like I could see in my email, it's something like the person just copied from there and sent it to me. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So on LinkedIn, there's like, you can chat there. So it means that the entrance, so to say, is quick. So you jump into conversation and you need to, catch this opportunity, not leave it for long or bombard a person with the novel on LinkedIn. People won't read it. People
Yeah.
won't read your long messages. They will see that we don't read, by the way. We skim, like we find
Yeah.
the important words there. Well, definitely that's a pitch. Bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I won't continue conversation with you. And on LinkedIn, when you start to say, for example, there is another version how that person could communicate with me right away. For example, he sent to me that valuable resource. He saw that I opened the message, but for example, I didn't respond to anything. I checked,
Yeah.
and he could use the information that he sent to me. For example, create a question about the information from that resource and send it to me, like what you think, or do you think,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow to try again to talk to me.
Yeah.
In this case, yes, there may be the version. You always need to understand that people may ignore you. So yeah, you need
Yeah.
to accept this. This is the part of cold outreach, but it's another version. So you didn't wait for too long. You gave the person the time to read the resource, then you
Yeah.
got back, and then you start a conversation with them. Maybe they respond, and then again you'd start discussing, and naturally you may lead the person to the thing what you're actually selling
Yeah.
while you have this communication. But here's another thing that works amazingly. The best thing that you can do in that tiny conversation, you need to make the person feel good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not talking here about the jokes because, jokes are pretty tricky, and especially if you work with the global market.
Yeah.
It may be funny in your country, but, in the
Maybe
other
not others.
it's not funny at all, and it's not a good thing to start with the joke. For example, it's another example of the outreach, a little bit off topic, but again, just the example of what you should not do. I received a cold email with the subject line, "Give me your money." And then the email, "No, I did not kidnap your family, like relatives and blah, blah,
Oh
blah."
gosh.
And I was like reading, and then he wrote like, "I want your money," and we both know it. And I'm like, I don't even know what he was offering. Like, there was nothing about offer. So there
Yeah.
was something about the money. And like, probably that was a joke, or he thought this is like a kind of a creative way to attract
Yeah.
attention. Yes, he attracted my attention, but the feelings that I got, they are negative.
Yeah.
So make sure that you create a positive feelings while communicating with the person. Let's get back to whether it's a fit for your strategy or not. Um, Combining email and LinkedIn right now, for example, you can even not only limit yourself with email and LinkedIn, you can also use the phone and make this like a flow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you can also stay with email and LinkedIn. Why is it good? We talked about the noise
Yeah.
a lot, and to stand out in the inbox, it's super hard. And besides standing out in the inbox, there is such a thing as trust.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And let's look at this example. You send your initial email. We don't know whether the person opened it or not. We don't know about that. And then you send the LinkedIn connection request. Let's use the perfect example. This person saw you on LinkedIn, connected with you on LinkedIn. Here's the chance you can continue the conversation on LinkedIn. We actually discussed earlier how you can start a conversation.
Yeah.
Or you may leave it as it is and continue sending the email, but engaging with that person on LinkedIn as well. For example, commenting their posts or liking their posts if they are active. You also need to look at this thing because not a lot of people are active on LinkedIn, which is currently, I think, a huge disadvantage because this is like a free platform where you can be visible for free, and it does not take a lot of effort and it does not take a lot of time if we compare this with, for example, SEO or with the paid ads.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand out there just with your content, with your personality, with your expertise. So this is like, if you don't have a good LinkedIn profile, think about it. So you can engage with that person, and what it creates. By the way, a small hack: make sure to have the same avatar on LinkedIn and in the email.
Oh
So
yeah.
that person can easily, detect you as you. Yeah, they may not know your name, but we all have eyes. Just our brain do not, let's say, it remembers everything, but gives that the priority, so to say. It still remembers. So
Mm-hmm.
what fact it creates? Next follow-up that you send, this person may open the email. Okay, I saw that guy. Like, oh, he commented on that post. Or, oh, I just recently uh, accepted his invitation. So it may, by the way, the good thing about the developing your LinkedIn profile, as far as people have the success to check everything, it's so good. They may go to your profile, see what you're doing. Here you can show your expertise, and then, if you combine all those things, when they read your email, they think, oh, I saw that guy, he commented on my post, I saw his LinkedIn. Oh, he probably knows what he's talking about. So, why not having a chat with him?
Yeah.
So that's how it may work. That's why you should definitely try.
Yeah. So this is great, and I even love the hacks and stuff. This is really insightful. I'm gonna kind of zoom out for a second, and there's been so many details we've talked through. Um, that is probably, if somebody's starting at the beginning because they're a SaaS founder or they're a small team, the question is, where do I start, and maybe what are the first things I might trip over? And so if you're a SaaS founder, you're a small team, you're doing cold outreach for the first time, what's the mistake that kills you before you even get started? What should people watch out for just as they try and begin this sort of thing?
Um, that's simple and not simple question at the same time, because I can say like infrastructure right away. This
Mm-hmm.
is the most common problem, but I think it starts way earlier, and it starts with the targeting. The other thing that actually kills everything is wrong targeting. You may have great infrastructure. This information is available everywhere. You just even ask ChatGPT, he will give you the pieces of advice, how to build your cold email infrastructure. But wrong targeting is something that will spoil everything. And this is actually the problem that I see so much. Uh, because why? Because on the internet, they saw that for one of the cases, they saw that like send more emails, get more results or something like that. Or I sent 1 million emails and I got $1 billion. People are inspired by those things, and they don't think that um, everyone does not need their product. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing. So you need to clearly know your customer or your potential customer, not only their pain points, just to create your solution and blah, 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 but also understand the value that you bring to those
Mm-hmm.
people. And I would say, I don't know, this time probably I will be thrown, the tomatoes will be thrown.
Yeah.
But cold outreach, the successful one, is always with small batches of leads.
Mm-hmm.
The successful cold outreach campaigns are not the campaigns for million leads inside. That's the people that were taken, that were gathered, the information was gathered, they were researched on, what things, necessary things were analyzed, the personalization was created. For example, as we talked about the signals were also included in that campaign. And then they sent. Not something like I will send to everyone, because sometimes people think like, they generalize their product so much, which
Yeah.
is not good. So this is the first thing you need to actually take your focus on. That's the targeting.
Yeah.
Who we're gonna target. Then the infrastructure, because that's the second thing.
Yeah.
After the wrong targeting, that's the second problem where you get to spam folder or you get blocked because like the scenarios are various. So like sometimes getting into spam is not that really bad because sometimes you can be blocked, for example, by Barracuda. That's the titan of the
Mm.
block lists. And you definitely, you do not want to have anything with them. It's better to
Mm.
do everything right at the beginning.
So you kind of got right into my final question, which would be, if somebody wants to start off and they're starting from scratch, what's a quick list, or like how would they actually step by step set this up? And yeah, I think you started to say targeting,
Yeah.
infrastructure next. Maybe you can just break that out for a second. What would like my startup list look like?
Let's say with the targeting, I want to repeat this again. And when you find the right category of leads that will be interested in you, the other thing is the data quality. And we've talked about that. If the leads may be interested, but the data that you have, the contact information, it's not valid. So you need
Mm.
to make sure that the data of, the contacts, that they are valid. This is one thing. The other thing, that's the infrastructure, and we go. The best scenario that you can use is like the Gmail API sender.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the way of the connection. There is an SMTP, there is an API, so both Gmail has both, but it's better to use their API. Next, the domain age, we mentioned that it should be not 1 day old, it should be
Right.
1 or 2 years old. That's important. The necessary records that you need to set up, and no, there are no exceptions. You cannot miss one and set the rest. You need to set all of them. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records. That's for
Right.
sure. The next thing is the warm up. No, you cannot skip it. I will again repeat it once again. You can't skip it. You need to warm up your email accounts for at least 1 month. If we talk about, for example, the send-in behavior, in fact, we didn't talk about it while, the general conversation that we had, but it's also important
Mm.
because the part of the infrastructure, why we need so many domains or why we need the email accounts, because you cannot send 1,000 emails from one email account. That's
Mm.
why you need to have multiple and it's better to use mailbox rotation. And you cannot send more than 50 emails, but generally, and it's better to send 20, 30 emails per one email account. So
Per
if you,
day?
yes, per
Per day.
day. Yeah, pretty, this is where people like they have the same expression that you had because like, hey, 20 emails is not a lot. I just like,
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah, in my dreams, I had like, those guys said that they send 1 million emails, and you're saying me that I can't. I want to repeat that their success,
Yeah.
and you say me just like 20 emails per email count. Yeah. So this is one of the important thing you need to keep in mind. So before you um, create your strategy, you need to plan with your entrance. I mean, how many email accounts you're gonna have at the beginning, because it effectually defines your speed.
Mm.
Just think about it. The email limits, like those limits, they are distributed not only to the first email. So, for example, if you have 20 emails per, I mean, like you can send 20 emails from the email account, you have a list of 100 people. So think about it. For example, the follow-ups, you have this
Yeah.
sequence. The first email, 20 people sent. The next day, for example, in your sequence, those people that got the first email, they should receive the follow-up, but they won't receive the follow-up because the rest of 80 people didn't receive their first
Right.
email, and the sequence can go further. So you need to keep that in mind and calculate how many you need for the entrance. And then if you want to scale, then you need to plan how fast you want to scale. And based on that, you go. You create mailboxes, you buy domains.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing is the daily, not daily, but the interval between sending emails.
Hmm.
So, for example, one of the common mistakes, in fact, this is the worst scenario. I want to send more emails and I want to send them fast, and they use the 5 seconds delay.
Okay.
It's super, super small, and by the ESPs, such behavior, it's defined as suspicious. They start to think that it's probably bots, it's something artificial. People cannot send the, emails, 5 seconds, every 5 seconds. So there is something wrong in there. So they
Mm.
block. They can block you just because of that interval. And again, I will repeat here, you may have REST targeting and the great infrastructure, but if you have this short interval, you will be blocked or sent to spam.
Yeah.
What is the number that you need to focus on when we talk about the interval? This is 200, 500 seconds. And we already mentioned that small batches work.
Hmm.
Fact, my personal thing, from my personal experience, when I see the people that say like I send 1 million emails, I understand that there was something generic, because when you really receive results, you receive results from the list of prospects that you kind of know. I mean, like
Hmm.
I will pull a joke here. You know everything about them, what they drink for breakfast,
Right, right.
during the evening. But I'm joking.
Yeah.
We're not talking about stalking, but this is a metaphor, so to say, for you
Yeah.
to understand that you know these people, and when they respond to you, you don't have to think a lot to continue the conversation with them, because you know them and you start. This happens in naturally. So small
Yeah.
batches of recipients. Next, tracking. No tracking, no opens, no. This is not something that you think about. Reply rates. No open tracking, no link tracking.
Mm.
And danger of it, we actually discussed what may happen.
Yeah.
If we talk about email content, no HTML, concentrate on plain text. With
Hmm.
no links, with nothing extra, with, not all those formatting. No, just a simple plain text. Personalization, for sure, is everything and anything in code outreach. So you need to make the person understand that you know what that you're talking about, that this thing that you're talking about is relevant.
Hmm.
So they may feel that. And how you can do that? We already mentioned about the signals. You can use them, and they're perfectly well in this case. Uh, we didn't talk about spam words. And by the way, this is the other thing that may actually lead you to spam folder. So you can find those lists in the internet. Just type that
Mm-hmm.
or ask AI if you like
Mm-hmm.
AI. You can ask that too. So the general understanding, they will give you the list of the words that may trigger spam filters. For example, such words like free, buy, or
Mm-hmm.
urgent. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people use that in subject line, urgent. That may be just a signal for the spam filters to send where. The subject line, 5-10 words. The email length, like 50 to 100 words. But what I can say about the email content here, I just want you to leave with one thought. I mentioned that earlier. Cold outreach is an ongoing experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So you should not stick to one right moment. Even the data that I'm saying to you right now, this is the data based on the research that we did inside the company. But you can find the other data online. What I want you to have in your mind is that you always need to try different variants and see what
Mm-hmm.
works best for you, because you know better, and no one in the world knows what will work definitely for you. So you need to test. This is something that you need to go to bed and wake up in the morning with. And preferably, it's good if you target Gmail recipients. Currently, for example, in Snovio, when you find the leads and their emails, you can see where their email is hosted. For example,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Gmail or Outlook or some other providers. So it's better to target Gmail, as in combination with the Gmail API, it's giving you better deliverability.
Mm.
This is like in short.
Yeah, that's a great list. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. It's been very interesting and insightful for me. I think it will be for folks. Thank you, Kseniia, so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and wrap up. I think if people want to learn more, because there's so much more, I mean, even as we're closing, I'm like, there's a bunch of questions I still wish that we would have had time I could have asked. But I think people can probably find you on LinkedIn, and then they can get to Snovio at snov.io. And is that the best way to connect with you guys?
Yeah. We have the chat there on the website, so you can jump into the conversation with our customer care agents right away, or you can talk to our sales guy. Yeah, we're so open to see you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kseniia, so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on Growth Stage Podcast today. Again, I'm your host, Jesse Poliato. I'm grateful to be able to spend time with folks like Kseniia here on the podcast and talk about this sort of thing. So many thanks. Catch you all on the next one. Have a great week and cheers. Thanks, guys.